Let's now talk about types of conformance. So there are two types of conformance. First is what we call goalpost conformance or zero defects conformance. So under this standard, quality is expressed as a range of values. So pag ito yung ginagamit sa TQM, so tinatanggap yung quality ng output as long as it falls within a certain range. Yung ikalawang standard naman is what we call the absolute quality conformance or robust quality approach. Dito, quality is meeting an exact value, no variation tolerated. So, mas mahigpit ito dun sa number 1, ano? Dito, para maging acceptable yung quality, kailangan eksakto, no? There's a specific point na ito yung quality. And anything less than that is unacceptable. Let's now talk about costs of quality. So the first one is what we call prevention costs. So there are four types. So the first one is prevention costs. This is incurred to avoid poor quality. So ito yung mga ginagastos ng company para maiwasang magkaroon ng poor quality during and after production. So example niyan, halimbawa, yung ginagastos ng company sa pag-test ng raw materials. Diba? Kung ito ba'y durable, kung ito ba'y suitable. Isa pa ay yung ginagastos sa paghahanap ng quality supplier. So, yan. So, those are prevention costs. Second one is what we call appraisal costs or also known as inspection costs. So, these are incurred to assess the quality of products before shipment. So, example nito yon, yung sweldo ng inspector, yung cost of testing ng products, di ba, bago i-ship sa ultimate consumer. So, those are appraisal costs. Third is internal failure costs. So, these result from identification of defects before delivery to customers. And this normally arises during inspection. So, ito yung mga cost of failing to meet the quality pero nangyari siya before ma-deliver sa customer. Halimbawa, doon sa inspection, nakita na merong ilang products na substandard. So, i-rework. So, yung cost of rework is an internal failure cost kasi there's a failure to meet quality pero it happened before delivery to customers. So, yon. Ika-apat naman yung tinatawag nating external failure cost. Ito naman result from identification of defects after delivery to customers. Example nito yung warranty cost. 'Di ba sa warranty, pag na-deliver na sa customer at halimbawa within a certain time period nasira, nag-malfunction, i-repair yan ng company without asking additional payment from the customer. So that's an example of external failure cost kasi na-detect na substandard yung output nung na-deliver na siya sa customer. Yung item 1 and 2 are cost of conformance kasi po yung prevention and appraisal cost ay nai-incur para mag-conform tayo, ma-meet natin yung standard. Yung number 3 and 4 are what we call costs of non-conformance kasi kaya nag-arise yung mga cost na yan kasi we fail to meet the standard. Uses and limitations of quality cost information. So, meron po tayo ditong sample ng isang quality report. Meron din siya sa book, no? So, naglagay na ako dito for visual aid purposes. So, ayan po. So, ito po yung details ng apat na cost na diniscuss natin kanina. Okay? Kung magkano siya at ilang percent ng quality cost ang nakain ng bawat item. So, para saan ba nagagamit itong quality report information na ito? So, una, it provides a basis for establishing budgets, of course. Ano? So, kung ano yung quality costs na na-incur nung business, halimbawa last year, pwede siyang maging basis ng budget next year. Helps managers see the financial significance of quality. So, dahil sa quality cost information, nakikita ng managers magkano ba ang nagagastos ng company para lang ma-meet yung quality na makakasatisfy dun sa customer. Kailangan nila yan, kasi meron tayong tinatawag sa accounting na cost-benefit trade-off, no? So, kailangan kasi, no, yung benefit na na-derive mo or na-enjoy mo sa isang policy ay hindi mas mababa. Kailangan mas mataas siya doon sa nagagastos mo doon sa policy na yon. So, halimbawa, dito sa TQM, baka naman sobrang laki nung nagagastos natin to meet the quality, no? Pero yung benefits, additional income from the customers na nakukuha natin from meeting their demands ay baka naman mas mababa pa, no? Baka naman lugi pa tayo. So, yun yung kahalagahan na pinopoint out dun sa number 2. Number 3, helps managers identify the relative importance of the quality problems. So, doon sa quality cost information, no, makikita, kasi di ba naka-express yun in percentage at saka in amount. So, makikita natin yung importance na ibinibigay ng mga managers doon sa bawat item ng quality cost. At pag nakita mo yung importance, this leads us to number 4. So, syempre, makikita mo yung distribution niya, baka magkaroon ng analysis yung mga managers na baka sobra naman yata yung nai-incur natin sa external failure costs. Baka pwede nating pababain yan by focusing on the prevention and appraisal costs. So, dahil sa quality cost information, makikita natin yung importance na binibigay ng company sa quality. At doon sa number 4, pag nakita mo yung distribution ng importance, baka maisip mo na parang mali yung mga items na binibigyan natin ng importance. Baka kailangang i-redistribute, kailangan ma-reduce yung mga cost na to, doon tayo mag-spend sa appraisal cost. So, yan po yung mga ilan sa kahalagahan at ilang bagay kung saan nagagamit yung quality cost information. Meron din po siyang limitations. Number 1, some quality costs are omitted in the report. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Merong mga nagagastos ang company to meet that quality na hindi mo makikita sa report. Halimbawa, yung pasweldo dun sa mga taong nagagawa ng quality report, hindi mo yan makikita doon sa mismong quality cost information report. So, diba? So, halimbawa, isa pa dyan ay yung ito medyo mahirap i-quantify kasi yung nagagastos sa pagsusurvey ng quality supplier na makakamit doon sa standard na gusto natin. Hindi mo siya kaagad-agad makikita on the face of the quality cost information report. So, yun po yung ilang example ng number 1. Number 2, measuring and reporting quality costs does not solve quality problems. So, dun sa quality cost information, nakikita mo lang magkano nagagastos, pero it does not necessarily provide solution paano mo siya isosolve. And number 3, a lag may exist between the time steps were taken to improve quality and the time when results will be seen. So, yung quality cost information na hawak mo, it doesn't mean na agad-agad yan yung result nung policy ng company to apply TQM. It may take some time para magkaroon talaga ng makikitang sabihin natin tangible, effect yung pag-comply sa total quality management. So, ibig sabihin, yung report mismo is not a basis alone na doon ka magko-conclude na successful or unsuccessful yung TQM. Kasi it takes a lot of time bago makita yung totoong result ng pag-comply sa TQM.